Hey guys, Vick here, back with another review. Today we are looking at this. This is the Freakshow version 2 from Wotofo. What is it? It is an RDA from Wotofo, building on the success of the very popular Freakshow V1. They have updated it into this V2. What are you getting? You are getting, instead of the skeleton skull man thing, you are getting the Freakshow writing. Played down a lot less dramatic than the original Freakshow, in the same way that the Troll V2 is much more chilled out than the Troll V1 in terms of the visuals on the actual RDA. You are also getting, if I open this up and show you, you are also getting side airflow as well as undercoil airflow. The thing that made the Freakshow famous or unique at the time was that it had that undercoil airflow going on, so the air comes through that hole up underneath the coil. That has now been updated to have that option, but also to have the option for the side if you wanted to chuck them clouds as well. So that's an option now. It now comes with a velocity style deck and a super deep juice well and big posts, holes and all that. So a widely updated affair. So we'll go down low and we'll take a peek at this, and then we'll come back up top for some final thoughts on the Freakshow V2 from Wotofo. See you in a sec. Okay guys, here we are with the Freakshow V2 up close. This is the packaging, sort of very fancy, very snazzy. Props to them for getting involved with Safata and Kasar. That's all good. Scratch authentication and all that. And I should say this is available in black and stainless steel currently, I believe. Opening the box, you get your normal drip tip adapter and a normal drip tip if you're wanting to use it like that. You get your RDA, of course. Put that there. And if you lift this up, like that, you will see you get your packets. Now they all just say comp wire on. That's not what they are at all. There's one with all your tools and plies in, there's one with some coils in, and there's one with some cotton in. So do open up those packets, they're not just comp wire. I don't know why they've always just said that on them. I don't know why that's the case, but that's what they do with that. So that's the packaging. Looking at the RDA, so you've got your big chuff cap drip tip thing, like that, and obviously that is removable like that. You just pull that straight out. Then you have got your airflow down here. That is just the bottom open. That is the first set of 3. And then for fully open, you keep going, and that is all of them open. As we'll talk about up top, gets very noisy with all the holes open, but we'll talk about that up top. Underneath it says Freakshow Wotofo. Clean that up a bit. Freakshow Wotofo V2, and it's got a nice protruding pin. I'm going to need to attach it to a mod to get the cap off. But getting the cap off like that, you can see the barrel now. There's your top cap, and that's how the airflow works. No single coil option, I'm afraid. Then you can see the writing here, Freakshow. That's replaced the skeleton man thing. So that clicks on like that, and that's your barrel. So the holes at the bottom here, they correspond with the holes here, which go underneath into these holes there. So that is how that works. I've got some pretty beastie coils in here from Coil Art. Pretty cool. I'll talk about that on a vlog, I guess. But you can see the velocity deck. Now we'll get our little tongy plier things. We'll lift this cotton out. As you can see, what I've done with the cotton is you just stick it down either side. I would suggest I've possibly even used too much cotton here. But if we rag it out, you can see what's going on here. So velocity deck, really deep posts, really deep juice well, really big post holes, velocity style deck. I hope you can see that. Really deep deck. So the idea is you can just drip straight down that hole and you can get absolutely loads in. because it's a super deep well. You can see by looking at this wall how big that is. Super deep juice well. Velocity, let's have a quick look at those coils. Pretty beastie, sort of hive coils from Coil Art. You can just buy those in the same way you can buy like Squidoo coils and stuff. Very cool indeed. What I would say is it's probably a more effective RDA with just normal round wire, because you need to have the air going through here without getting too blocked off by the big coil, and when you're dripping down the drip tip straight into here, you don't really want the juice like tickling against these coils. You want it to go straight down so it can wick up without accidentally dripping down the holes. But that's what you've got. Big old Velocity deck. Putting it back together, correspond to these two holes, and you just stick it back together like that, and you've got your Freakshow V2. Let's go back up top. Okay guys, that was the Freakshow down low, up close. To get a better idea of it, we saw it up close. Okay, so there's a few things with this. First of all, the improvements are good. The improvements are good on the V1. The Velocity deck is much more fun to build on than the original Freakshow deck. It now has the underflow it had before, but with that extra additional airflow. I prefer the writing to the big skeleton man. I was never really into that. And it's got a big, lovely big deep juice well. So those are all positives. The improvements are positive. So if you enjoyed the Freakshow V1, I think you will like the Freakshow V2. Having said that, there's quite a bit on it that I'm not a fan of. To start with, there's a really weird the O-rings that I just happen to have with this one all seem to be like slightly too much or too little of everything. So the top cap, the O-rings are way too soft. I can't hold that by that at all. That just comes flying off really easy. So there's a lack of tension on that top one. Might just be mine. Similarly, the bottom one, it's really tight, and when you're pushing it back down, you've really got to give it a really good shove to get it over those O-rings. So the bottom ones seem too thick, the top one seems too thin. I don't know what's going on with that. Another thing is, if you do open up this side airflow, it gets very noisy very quick. I think that's due to the fact that they've used all those little holes. That creates a lot more air friction than just straight normal gaping holes. So your air's there's a lot of friction in the airflow, so it gets very noisy. Need to turn this up big time. So it gets quite noisy there, as you can hear. I'm not a massive fan of the side airflow thing, if I'm being honest. I prefer the Freakshow just with the underflow. It's nice to have option, and you can close it off, so I'm not going to slag it off for that, but I'm much preferring it with just the airflow at the bottom. And if you turn it back to just the bottom, it is a lot quieter just using the bottom hole. That's a lot better in my opinion with just the bottom bit. Flavour is immense. Flavour is exceptional. With the side closed and the bottom open, the flavour is excellent, just like the Freakshow V1. The one thing you cannot knock these Freakshows on is the flavour. The flavour is excellent with this under coil airflow system. So that's a thing. That is definitely a thing. So a bit of a mixed bag. I'm finding it quite frustrating to use. The bottom airflow, I want to just use the bottom airflow, and it's a tiny bit restrictive, especially when you put those big coils over the top of the hole. It feels quite restrictive for the modern airflow, you know. It's a little bit restricted with just the bottom one, and I would prefer to just use the bottom one. Maybe they could have found a way of just opening up the bottom one, maybe just having one hole in the middle for the people that wanted that. I don't know. That's insanely personal preference stuff, though. Everyone's experience will differ. But with the airflow being tiny bit tighter than I wanted, with the O-rings being slightly too loose at the top, too tight at the bottom, I've just found myself a little bit frustrated using it. It's got this big juice well, but I still don't trust myself dripping down the drip tip, because the juice, it lips off the coils and sort of runs around the bottom and then goes down the hole. So most of the time when I'm dripping down the drip tip, it's fine, but occasionally you will get a blob go down your airflow. That's what I've found anyway. Lovely flavour though, really lovely flavour, lovely vape. If you liked the V1, I think you'll love the V2. Me personally, I found it a little bit more frustrating than a lot of the other RDAs I've been using recently, but that's just my very, finicky personal experience, I guess. So something to bear in mind. I've been vaping Vick, and I'll see you again really soon.